For the power of truth, this is the Glad Report.
Hello everybody, thank you very much indeed for tuning into today's episode of the Glad Report. Today we discuss very controversial bills, the Cybersecurity Act, very controversial laws, the Cybersecurity Act and the Cybercrimes Act, following the repeal of the 2021 Cybersecurity and Crimes Act. Without further ado, I'm glad with the report. Just to have a bit of flavour in this discussion, we can put to the fore the case of a very controversial public figure, a person people love to hate, and that is Miss Kidist Kifle, wife of popular musician Mr. Yo Maps. So, as of the 14th of April, she had a case against Mr. Elias Musyani. He was in the defense, where she basically took him to court for having cyber-bullied her, cyber-harassed her, allegedly saying that he would rape her, and sorry if that's like a buzzword for some people, and potentially abduct her and her children. So when the Lusaka Magistrate Court heard this, according to Article 69 of the Cybersecurity and Crimes Act 2021, he was sentenced to 6 months in prison and told to pay a 70,000 kwacha fine. In his defense, he said that he's a student, he's a first-time offender, he is a youth, in his defense, but which really didn't really hold any water. It lacked gravitas in the court.
I'm innocent. I'm being harassed here. For what? Why are you holding me? I'm being harassed. I'm just innocent. I'm a Zambian news about a criminal. I'm being harassed by these officers. I don't know. Look. Hey. Mr. President, look at this is what the police are doing. They're harassing me. No search warrant. I'm just innocent. I've never killed anybody. Don't harass me, relax. Mr. President, look at what's happening. I'm a youth and I'm being harassed. I voted for you, look what they're doing to me. You want to kill me? No, man. You're killing my son because of your
Lack of decorum on the social media space, and the Lusaka Magistrate said with the arrest and apprehension of this individual, basically this is supposed to stand as an example that people will fear and say, I won't want to harass or bully anybody on the cyberspace because I don't want to be arrested. Yes. Okay. So for a law to be passed fully, there's several stages it has to go through. Exactly 7 stages, if anything. It first has to be presented as a bill to Parliament. It then goes through the first reading and then the second reading in Parliament, upon which a parliamentary vote is had. And I believe on the 25th of March, the parliamentarians voted, 59 people voted yes and 30 people voted no. At this point, because it was a majority thumbs up, it went on and was passed on to the committee stage. The committee is a group of people appointed to advise in a very niche manner in accordance with the bill's demands. So they review it, they check its validity, they research on it, and then when they're done with this, exercise, they take it onto the Parliament, they report it. And I believe that's the first stage of having a bill being passed into an act, potentially. It's reported onto Parliament, taken to parliamentarians, after which a third reading of the bill is done, and again subjected to a parliamentary vote. If it's a majority, as it was in which case for both the Cybersecurity Act and the Cybercrimes Act, it goes on to the President for the presidential assent in the final signing. And it officially was passed into law for both of these acts on the 8th of April 2025. Right? So in that regard, if people wanted to complain about it, They could have complained at the readings, the first, second, third reading of the bill before it was actually passed on to the president to sign it. They could have gone to the constituency MPs to complain about it, which nobody made like a proper, strong, strident attempt to make sure that it wasn't passed into law. So complaining now, I believe, is a rather futile venture. Yes. So the Cyber Security and Crimes Act of 2021 has been officially repealed and now replaced by the two acts as it's been split, the Cyber Crimes Act and the Cyber Security Act. I believe Cyber Security Act is about 46 pages and Cyber Crimes Act is about 18 pages. Let me just give a bit of just a bit of detail on both sides. The Cyber Security Act basically officially establishes the Cybersecurity Agency, Zambia Cybersecurity Agency. Also, we have the establishment of the Cyber Monitoring and Coordination Center. Also, cybersecurity Incident Response Team. All of which are supposed to establish a critical infrastructure system, critical information infrastructure system. Basically issues pertaining to national security, public health, economic stability, all in that regard, building on the information held by the government, but basically in the frame of navigating the cyberspace. Indeed. So if you check part 5 of this cybersecurity of the Cybersecurity Act, it gives lawful power to the people in these agencies to potentially intercept conversations if they feel there's necessary information which they're supposed to take out of it, whether it's in the frame of analyzing business conversations just to know the nature of certain businesses, all of which is supposed to build a critical infrastructure base. People have complained and said, oh my gosh, over surveillance, do we have any privacy? But then again, complaining now is a bit futile. So indeed, in a sense, it is true that it does infringe on democratic freedoms. But the government, in a sense, also could say that for the sake of national security, we're simply making sure the cyberspace is properly reviewed. So whether it's in the frame of phone calls, what exactly is typed on Facebook, they're watching. And you could review the 46-page document to see how exactly, and they keep talking about lawful authority. If a person is granted lawful authority, they may be able to intercept a lot of these happenings on the cyberspace. Yes. So that's with regards to the Cybersecurity Act. With regards to Cyber Crimes Act, if you're just a regular person like myself, not part of the agencies, just a commoner, if you want to know how to protect yourself, especially from bullies on the social media space, this Cyber Crimes Act, you should know it like the back of your hand. It's only 18 pages. So very interesting articles, even though I would say the whole document is interesting. Article 4, for example, if a person, comes into your computer system, so I get a computer system, the definition, I'll put it up on the screen. If somebody deletes, manipulates your information on your phone or your computer system, that person could be liable to a fine or could be imprisoned even. Also, if you look at Article 10, for example, somebody cannot record without permission a private conversation. The only way they could justify this is if perhaps property is threatened of being disturbed or broken or damaged, or a person's life is in danger. If that can't be proved, there's really no there's really no reason why a person should be intercepting your private conversation. It's punishable by law. Also, Article 13, for example, if a person sends out explicit content, by explicit I mean sexual content, be it a photo or a film, if they even threaten to do it or actually do it, it's punishable by law, either with a fine or a prison term or both. So even just the threat of it is a problem on the cyberspace. Article 14, for example, using a person's identity or an electronic signature to perhaps extort individuals of money or anything, all of that again punishable by law, either with a fine, imprisonment, or both. Article 15, 16, and 17 basically pertain with children and how people shouldn't be using them for pornographic activities, just child protection in the cyberspace, 15, 16, and 17. Article 22, I think this one will be the most used, I would believe, because it says no one can be harassed on the social media space, no one should be bullied, or no one should have emotional distress caused on them. Any damage to their self-esteem is punishable by law. That's Article 22. But I think the main thing to have in mind here is that as long as this intentionality, like an intentional decision, a deliberate act of malice to hurt a person's self-esteem, to damage reputation, to extort, to manipulate on the cyberspace, all of it, if you can prove it and you can present it upon to a court of law, you will be defended and protected by the law. So I think all this is calling for is proper behavior and discipline in the cyberspace, and just decorum and just discipline. You cannot use a youth as an excuse of ignorance. You have to be very knowledgeable of what's actually happening, and you say, just to have everybody protected, so your rights end where my rights starts. So nobody should be impinging or infringing on anybody's rights in the social media space, on the cyberspace. So this is basically our protection in a sense. So these are the two acts that have been put into the new legal space in Zambia. If you want to complain about them, it's a bit too late. I guess we all have to do is work around them, because when they were put to the parliament, first, second reading, third reading, you should have complained at that time. It's just a bit controversial, I would say, that the Cybersecurity Act was assented by the president when, prior to his election, he did mention that he described it as a Big Brother bill, saying, it's going to have the government over surveil its citizens, having us be watched all the time, every action watched. But I guess now that he's in power, I guess it's a bit different, so he has actually assented it. So those are the two acts that we put at the fore. We can have protection for ourselves and just good behavior. I think all of us should be fine. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much indeed for tuning into today's episode. Thank you.
For the power of truth, this is the Glad Report.